Let's get right to it because I fear the man and don't want to leave him waiting when I told him the window was 10 to 10:30. And
yeah. Let's just go ahead and do it.
It's 10:34. So
listen, man, it was a couple minutes.
Let's before we call it.
Yeah.
Just want to set this up. Is that obviously anyone that's listening to this podcast listens to the Furlough Files. It may not be the other way around, but Anthony challenged Billy Fives to one more match because he got nostalgic and a little regretful about the last match he did have.
All around bad idea.
His last wrestling match. And he had that Rocky moment of having stuff in the basement still.
Bad stuff.
And now he's got to get it out.
It's coming out.
Oh, it's coming out. It be.
One way or the other, his whatever stuff's in that basement is going to be strewn all over that ring.
Right. So he on the podcast decided he was going to select Billy Fives to be his final match. He wanted to retire in style or
permanently
with Billy be retired.
Yeah, be retired.
And then he did a combination of talking shit for like the next 2 weeks without ever reaching out to Billy, but word got back to Billy pretty goddamn quickly.
I don't understand what he's thinking, man.
So then last week I was like, dude, it's been like 2 weeks. Have you reached out to me? No, I'm formulating a plan and blah, blah, blah. He's like, half the time he's like nauseous, nervous. And then the other half the time he's like talking total trash. And
he's like going through the stages of grief here.
So I get this text from Billy that goes, so this is your boy reaching out? And it's one sentence that Anthony texted him that said, okay, so one last match with a bunch of question marks afterwards.
Oh my God.
And I was like, ooh. Well, as soon as I saw it, I was like, ooh. Yeah. And so, you know, Billy and I had a little
So we're going to bring Billy on this podcast, and we're going to find out just how fucked AJ Janasso is.
Right. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try and call him. He should be expecting my call. I did not confirm with him today.
Oh.
But, you know, if I didn't call him, he'd call me out on it.
Yeah.
So let me see if this will work. I have to use my regular phone for this.
Oh, we haven't done it this way yet.
No, because he doesn't know the other number. He might not answer it. The hotline number. I forgot to give that to him. So let's see if we hear this and all that. I think we will.
I don't hear it. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
There we go. There we go.
Hello.
Hey, Billy. What's going on?
What's up, brother? Nothing. Just got home from paddleball.
Oh, perfect timing then.
Yeah, we got him just in time.
We got nervous because Marco was running late.
Yeah, I had a job to do early in the morning, but I wanted to make sure we got you between that 10:30 window.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, guys, you know, I'm not at the bar for another hour and a half. I had time.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, I didn't know. You know, I didn't know if we were. Listen, when you said perfect between paddleball and the bar, I didn't know if that meant we were catching you in the car ride from one to the other.
Yeah, or just the walk down the because it's right across the street.
Yeah.
I mean, what would be worst case? I'm doing this while I'm sitting at the tub.
Yeah, exactly.
I win.
Yeah, but it's much quieter here, so we can clearly hear the description of what you're going to do to our foolish friend Anthony, without any
Well, obviously, due to legal issues, I'd have to say it's going to be a work where it's going to look so real that nobody's going to believe it's a work. And when Anthony's crying, he's going to be up for an Academy Award for the acting job. Because, you know, it is going to be a work where you hear the snaps and the breaks. He's good at making those sound effects. It's the craziest thing.
Yeah.
And for our audience who's not up to par with wrestling vernacular, work is just suggesting that it's going to be a staged fight.
Marco.
That's that.
We know Marco's left the business because he just left.
I have no idea what kind of stupid drink that AJ drank that day that he challenged you, but I wish I could have shaken that stupid out of him before he did, sir. That was That was there's less smart ideas, I suppose, but that's right up there, top 5 probably.
Well, I'm gonna have to go with okay, you had a bad day, but then he continued to follow it up.
Yeah, when he doubled down,
that's what really threw me off.
When he doubled down and he was like, "I'm not afraid of Billy." I go in there, he's like, "I'll fight him back," and I'm like, "Who the fuck do you? What's happening?"
Well, even that, he's called me so far. I think I've heard him call me a dick.
He called you a dick.
That he's not a. Oh yeah. He was telling one of the stories from on the road. He tells these stories like I tortured him, but he doesn't tell the story that I'm the motherfucker that got him on the road. He was booked in these places because of me. So any, greenhorn friendly ribbing he deserved.
He needs a reminder.
Yeah, this is a thing that him and his partner would never wash their gear. So every time they put their shit in the car, we could smell it. And then he gets mad that a little ribbing where we dump them on the side of I-95 near some alligators. Or I-75.
And just so everybody knows, it didn't just smell. Like, there was mold growing. Yeah. Like, wasn't there mold on the belt, right?
Championship belts.
Yeah, that's right.
Championship belts were tarnished with their shit.
He never learned his lesson on that. We were doing those SuperCon shows, and he literally, like, opened his bag, and his gear was wadded in there from the last time he did a SuperCon show, and they're like 6 months apart. And the shirt, because he was dressed like Super Mario, the shirt could not have fit one more wrinkle in it, and it was just like, it smelled like everyone's foot in the building. I mean, it was just disgusting.
Full disclosure.
And then he wants to be upset that he takes a little ribbing. I mean, he pretends he's man's man, but come on, you little bitch.
Full disclosure, half the reason that me and Anthony never really worked that much is because I was like, I don't want to spend an entire 10 minutes in a ring with this guy going gagging, and dry heaving because he can't have basic fucking hygiene. And I love AJ. I don't know what happened. I don't know if his kids have pushed him over the edge. I don't know. I can't explain any of this. But it's happening. So
this feels like
I'm just. I was waiting on a date, and then he finally reaches out with some weak shit. Ben's seen it.
Yeah,
Ben shared that with me.
One more match? Question mark. I'm like, are you kidding me?
He spent the last 3 weeks talking shit, and then he's like, one more match? Yeah. Oh my god! Listen, he might be slightly retarded right now. Maybe you should cut him just the tiniest bit of. I mean, I know you're not.
No,
but I'm just listen. I just don't want to explain to his children how the parts of the fist and the hand go back together and the arms. Some kind of weird puzzle piece. After the match is over.
Again, a complete work. He's going to put on one hell of an act, screaming and crying and moaning.
Is there going to be enough left of him to go to La Tub afterwards?
I don't.
Well, you know what?
Is he invited? I think he's
only. I took my uncle to La Tub one time, and he ended up leaving in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So we'll just get Anthony there in the wheelchair to start with.
I feel like Anthony may be invited to the match, but not the after party.
That would be fantastic. That's That's
yeah.
The best
we're gonna tell him we're having it at some gay bar in Wilton Manors.
So a bar in Wilton Manors.
That's it. Yeah, meet us at Fruit Loops in Wilton Manors.
He'll go. I know exactly where that is. That's next to the grilled cheese place.
He'll bust out the freaking Oh hell yeah! I love that grilled cheese place. I'm not lying about that.
Listen, I'm down having the after party there. I haven't had one of those grilled cheeses in a while.
Yeah, no, that is worth it. That, and then there's a one of them freaking food trucks that always does the concerts up at the amphitheater in West Palm Beach. That's a grilled cheese food truck.
Oh wow!
And those are my 2 grilled cheese joints, man. Oh, every concert I go to, I go there starving. I'm not eating. I need the grilled cheese.
He fasts in preparation.
I'm thinking I'm thinking he'd be more mad at us if we had the after party at Grilled Cheese and didn't invite him than if La Tub and didn't invite him.
That's true.
No, La Tub's gonna be fun after. The best part is you guys both know her, Madison, my daughter. She works there now.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, so we'll be able to torture her while we're there. Even better.
Oh, she's going to love that.
She's my my birthday buddy. We have the same birthday.
Yeah, she's because she just started there a few weeks ago, so she keeps coming home with stories from the the people that work there. She's like, Dad, did you beat some guy up because he was arguing with Kenny? And I'm like, oh, sounds familiar.
Seems
and
right.
I'm like, tell me what happened. She's like, well, he was arguing with Kenny. You took him in the parking lot and you beat him up. I go, sounds familiar. I don't remember if it's at La Tub or somewhere else. There's been a few of those, but okay.
You didn't beat him up. You just suggested with your fists that he leave.
Well, the dude kept running his face into my fist. It was annoying.
That's it's a weird evolutionary thing some people have where they can't stop headbutting your fist.
It's the craziest thing. So, like Bobby Rogers back in the day when I left the canvas full of his blood. The dude wouldn't stop running his head into my foot.
Still an epic picture. That picture of him laying on the canvas.
He's proud of it.
They cleared the building.
Yeah.
They cleared the building and asked on the mic, "Is there a doctor here?" Because they thought I killed him.
So how run me through the Billy Fives. I mean, I know your emotional range is pretty narrow, but run me through you hearing about AJ acting a fool with me on the podcast, and then him like kind of not actually reaching out to you, and then him, I guess on Facebook he kept trying to like engage you slightly, like outside of acknowledging this. And you were giving him the silent treatment, and he was getting really nervous. But I just want to know what your process was there in working up his fear factor, if you will.
Well, you start with the first one, and I don't remember it, exactly, but I don't think he was really like talking shit in the first one. It was more along the lines of, I want one more, and then all of a sudden he jumped the shark, the old school Happy Days reference. He jumped the shark and said, I want one more. You know what? I want Billy Fives. So I'm listening to it, and I laughed. I thought it was funny. I was like, oh, that's funny, man. Anthony's, he's being a fool, whatever. He's already done a podcast where you guys, told the story where he almost killed me. And I don't listen to a lot of the podcasts, but that one had me laughing too. So I'm like, okay, that's funny. And then he keeps going with it on that, and I'm like, he's serious. He actually wants to get in the fucking ring with me. And I'm like, whatever, man. Okay, I'll no-sell him, and, I'll beat the shit out of him, theatrically. And so then all of a sudden the second podcast comes around, and he's backpedaling like he's an NFL cornerback, man. He is just, and
we both know
Ben Temple's like trips him and goes, no, you're not. Trips him and gets him back up and talking shit again. And I'm like, oh, this idiot's falling for this shit. Ben has got him hook, line, and sinker. This is going to be good.
Oh, Ben is
Ben
is so happy about this.
Yeah.
I keep letting it go, and he's hitting little likes on like pictures and shit. And then you guys are tagging me in the podcast, and I'm not responding. I'm going radio silent because I know it'll make him nervous as shit. And I'm, radio silent. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, maybe the third podcast, he busts out telling stories about me and calls me a dick. And I'm like, oh, this dude's getting his ass whipped. Pretend, obviously. But I'm like, oh, okay. We're gonna keep going with this. All right. This is going. So I think it was maybe after the third one, I cut that promo that, because I went and I talked to Gangrel. I was teaching after school that day. And I'm like, hey, man, you know Genazzo. And he's like, well, yeah, kind of. I go, well, this idiot opened his mouth, and he wants to get in the ring with me. I go, you want to put it on one of your shows? He's like, and I've worked 3 shows for Dave, and the rule is don't call me if you want me because I don't give a shit if I'm in the ring. Call me if you need me. So with COVID and everything, he had people that couldn't make it, whatever, and he'd call me the day of the show. Hey, man, I go, all right, yeah, I'll grab my gear. I'm on the and let me be clear, my freshly washed gear, and I'll be there. So Dave's like, brother, if you want to be on the show, he'd put me in a program if I wanted it. I don't want it.
Yeah.
He goes, whatever you want, man, no big deal. So I said, okay. So I cut the promo. I send it to Ben, and then comes the podcast where, Anthony gets to hear the promo, and I'm thinking, okay, this kid is going to trip over himself running away. And he keeps opening his damn mouth. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Let's see. And then he's talking about, I'm going to reach out to him. I grabbed my phone like 10 times, and I just couldn't send the message. And then I get that weak-ass freaking message, one sentence, one more match, question mark. I'm like, oh, this fucking goofy bastard. So I just sent him the screenshot of me listening to the exact one where he said he picked up the phone 10 times to reach out to me. and said, all that contemplating, and this is the best you can come up with? And then that was it. That was the end of the response. And I was waiting for him to come back with something, and I haven't heard from him since.
That is such.
It amazes me that he has climbed the corporate ladder to the extent he has, with the thought processes you've explained in this.
It's. I think what kills me in all of this is he hasn't reached out, and then when he finally did, that is what he came up with.
Yeah.
That's astounding.
Yeah.
Astounding.
Yeah.
Because even if it's not you, even if it's just like, hey. Like, say he wanted to, work like our boy Drew or something like that. You'd think he'd reach out, like, hey, I want to have a match. I want to be with you, blah, blah, blah. You start working the details out. He's just, done this whole thing just thinking, he's going to show up, stand in a ring against you, and everything is going to be swell with no talking whatsoever. What is he thinking, man? What the fuck is he thinking?
Well,
he's
Marco,
not,
you'll know
clearly.
There won't be any talking because all it's going to be is, we'll call it in the ring, kid.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
And you know what that means.
Yeah, no, it means all the rest of the boys are rushing to the curtain for the best spots as they watch. Get the cameras out.
Well, the good part is Dave streams all his shows. So everybody's, they could be in their car with their freaking phones open. Or, for that one, they may bring their big screens in. Who the hell knows?
This will be the first time.
They could just sit there.
This will be the first time in AJ Janazzo's career he's going to be a draw, because this podcast, we're going to make sure everyone shows up to watch this.
Hey, you know what? Make it a draw. Everybody, support the Gangrels Wrestling.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
On top of the fact that I get to, slap Janazzo around, I'm boosting freaking Dave's, company, and I love Dave, so yeah.
No, Dave's awesome.
Between this and the 60,000 TikTok fans he has, this is going to be like a very well viewed, quote unquote, exhibition.
It's good for everyone involved except AJ.
the human punching bag.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. After the match, when his TikTok base goes down to 6 people. We're not following that guy anymore.
I'm reminded, every time I think of this match, I'm reminded of the old press conferences when Tyson would fight, where he would just sit there nice and quiet, just doing his thing, and then the guy, the bumbling fool who he's fighting, is trying to cut some kind of antagonistic promo to make you sort of kind of believe he belongs to be in the ring with you, with Tyson. And then, of course, we all know what happened afterwards. That's all I keep thinking. It's just he's Billy's just sitting there playing his paddleball, drinking in a tub, just living his life, and AJ's doing whatever it is he's decided to do, and he's making all this noise, and it's just man. I mean, I thought about maybe having a match or so, in the future, but not like this, and not in no. Why the fuck would you go from not doing anything to get into a one-sided fight?
Hold on. So the Dirt Bike Kid's going to be calling me out next?
Fuck no. I love the shit out of you, Billy, but I like my bones where they were. Okay.
But hey. Theatrically.
Yeah,
remember, this is on tape, man.
Theatrically, yeah. This is it's all ballet.
Yeah, I don't know. It's this kid. I don't know what kind of funky juice they have in Atlanta, but it's not working out for him.
It's just such a weird situation. And Ben and I have just been what is happening? Because at first, I don't even think we believed this was going to be a thing. He's going to call it, but in 2 days, he's going to be like, oh, I'm fat. And that would be that. But
I knew that once I had him on tape, and then once I tagged Billy, and then he was aware of it, that then he couldn't back out. That Billy was like, nope, and I had no idea that he would then dig a hole so deep. Like I said, the title of the last podcast I did with Anthony was they bury people at 6 feet. You're at 10, brother.
Oh, yeah. This dude, we're going to dig him straight through to China by the end of the show.
He's going to be in the hollow earth.
He's freaking. Oh, my God. It's hysterical. Now, the funny part is, I'm listening to you guys talk about eating pizza and doing anything. Yeah, granted. Yeah, I may go out and have a beer or 12, but I'm also in the gym. I'm in the ring at Dave's, training on a regular basis. You fat bastards he can't even win a weight loss contest against Temples.
Well, technically, he shaved me by a point, but
no, it was it's still this is apples and oranges here. Because I like we had this in the last time we had brought this up, and I had talked about the idea of maybe in the future getting in the ring, but I was like, it's going to take a 6 to 8 month commitment to get in the kind of shape it takes to not embarrass yourself.
Well, for you,
yeah. Well,
I mean,
for me, for
Anthony,
AJ,
Anthony's made a career of embarrassing himself.
Go that much, Marco?
What?
Have you let yourself go that much?
No, but
you were still in shape.
No, but I haven't bumped in forever. I mean, Billy, it takes time. It takes time to get back in that ring and just kind of like feel around again. And I haven't, listen, with my work and everything, I haven't really been very athletic in the last couple of years, short of just working. So, when I walked away, I walked away. It was just how I just needed to. And that's why it protected me, because I knew the thought of going back and doing anything in the ring would require a tremendous effort. It would have to be something I really wanted to do.
But you, as compared to me and AJ, you're not in like gym or ring shape, but you didn't get into a totally different shape.
Oh, no.
You didn't turn around like us, you know.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it would take you 6 to 8 months. I think if you
probably shorter.
A couple times a week.
If I waked up today and I was just like, yeah, I would do this. Oh, and you know what? I never got to work Billy. I totally worked Billy. I would instead go to La Tub, sit down with you, and explain the situation, and you could look me in the eyes and go, "Kid, you're getting a little high. You need to calm down." Or you would go, "Okay, cool. We could do this like men, like whatever AJ's on. I don't understand whatsoever, because it's like not many people." We talk about you a fair amount. We're always kind. But I don't think people really realize like your reputation, and it was always, you're always going to have a good match with Billy, but Billy's going to make you work for it. And it's not going to be like, oh yeah, there's no slap fighting or anything. Like, no, it's a fight as much as Billy wants it to be a fight. And it's going to be a good match as long as you hold up your end, and you catch Billy on a good day. But, it's unlike most wrestling matches where it is more of a controlled a dance or whatnot. With you, it's a controlled fight, which I love, but like I couldn't get in the ring with you in 2 months and do that shit like fucking AJ's thinking he's going to do. That's
he's looking at me as he says it.
That's like suicide, man.
Just the thought of it, I see your eyes. There's like a genuine just a slight sliver of fear when you even thought about getting in the ring.
Listen, because I've been in the ring with Billy a few times, and I loved every.
Have you?
Yeah, but just like in practice, we've never worked. We've never been in the ring, and we never got a chance to work.
Oh, so like training? No, I'm not ribbing you here, bro. I forgot.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's always been at school or something, or before a show, or like real early on when I first started working with Bobby when I was with Mike Blake. You got me in the ring and stretched the living shit out of me. And it was all, but it was all in good fun because everyone knew I wanted to get in the ring, and, there's realities to that. And I'm really glad that you're over at Dave's, helping train this next batch of kids so that they don't end up as fucking soft as some of the shit I see the few times I watch wrestling.
That's an interesting question I have for Billy. It's obviously not 15 years ago.
Shit.
So how much do you have to hold back, realizing that you can't really actually beat the shit out of someone like you could have 15 years ago?
I mean, again, I've only had, I was doing one match a year, and it was usually some sort of reunion show where they give me somebody that knows what I'm going to do, and they're cool with it.
Yeah,
but I mean, like at the school,
some indie guy, but it's an indie guy that's like, yeah, bro, I know you're going to beat the shit out of me, and my answer is always the same, bro, fight back. I'm going to hit you back.
But I mean, like
me
when
and
you're
Bruce Santi used to beat the shit out of each other. But at Dave's school, what I mainly focus on, because the style I did when I came in, Rusty, love him. He knew my background. My background was fighting. I was a fighter. I came, I fought in Asia for years, and Norman Smiley brought me in, and Norman told him, "Hey, man, this is his background." So when I came in, Rusty's like, you got to learn the fundamentals. but then take what you do and bring it in. So I went through, and the hardest thing I could ever do, and Mark will know, is the table for the takeovers, because I'm a shooter. I just fucking take you over.
Yeah.
So I went in, and Rusty made sure I learned all that. But then when I started bringing in my stuff, he was like, "Go for it." And I could still hear it in the back of my head when I would go for it a little too much. Billy, it's a fucking work. but so that was always my style. So when I'm at Dave's, I teach mainly fighting. I teach them how to fight, and then I teach them how to integrate that into wrestling. But mainly, I teach it to them on top of the fact that that's my style and that's what I do. So that's what I teach. I'm not a freaking luchador, so I'm not trying to teach somebody to do a 630.
Right.
But I teach them that because it's what I know, but I also teach it because, you get out on the indies, and I would show up to buildings and, whatever, some schmuck would fly me into nowhere, and I'd come in, and of course, I'm the over guy, so I'm working either the owner of the company who's booked himself as the champ or his cousin who's the champ, whatever. And I get in, I go, all right, man, it's your town, bro. I'm going to do my things, but we need to make you shine because I'm giving you the rub here. I may never come back to Bodunk nowhere. And you get in the ring, and they suck. So I would just beat the shit out of them. And this is what I explained to the kids. I'm like, if you get in the ring, and it's not that they suck, they throw a weak punch or this, it's that they're dangerous. And that's when I'll beat the shit out of you.
Yeah.
If you just suck, I'll work with you. I'll take you. I'll stretch you a little bit. I'm not going to let you do stupid. But if you're dangerous, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. And I've done it. It's obviously the reputation's out there. I've done it many times. And so that I teach them the stuff that I teach them so that if they do end up in that situation, they know what to do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And see, that's the kind of stuff that was lacking for a long time. Because I remember when I would go over and work out at Pablo's, man, he wasn't teaching them shit. It was bad.
I've heard, yeah.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. It was like just running universal spots with him was most of them didn't even know. And it's like, oh, this is fantastic. This is fantastic. Babu's over there just stealing your fucking money, and
they've been a student for 2 years,
or longer for some of them. Yeah, I mean, fucking when Dave.
Yeah, that's one thing. Dave is, he's that old school. He's Malenko like Rusty was, and he came up under Rusty as well. And Dave teaches that old school, and it's you get some kids in there where you see them in the beginning, and you're like, yeah, they're not coming back. They want to cry because Dave's brutal, man. He doesn't play, but he cares. It's because he gives a shit. Not only about his name that's going to be on you, but he cares about them, man. Dave truly is, the old school workers are, for the most part, they're scumbags. But you got the few that that are just good guys. Yeah. But for the most part, most of the old schoolers, they were just trying to hustle you. They're trying to make a dime off you. Yeah, give me $200 and I'll get you booked here and I'll just kiss my ass.
Yeah, I think that's the observation. Is just that, like, I think Dave's in a position where he doesn't have to be predatory. He still is flown across the country every weekend to work and isn't sucking these kids dry to pay his rent. You know what I mean? Which I think.
And the funny part is he wouldn't, even if like COVID hit, man. So he wasn't traveling and it was killing him. Financially, yeah, but it was killing him because Dave has done this since he was, I think, 17 or 18, some shit. 17, 18, 19, he started this. And this is the only thing he's ever done. So to have him locked down in place for like a year.
Oh, that had to have sucked.
He was going, batshit crazy. And then the school was kind of limited too, but at no point did it cross his mind just because I know him. Well, I got to start schooling people over to make money. Right. Fuck no, man. He is so freaking genuine. That's why I go to that school. I hang out with Dave. I consider Dave a friend. So it is no doubt he goes in there. He teaches the old school fundamentals and this is what I tell the kids. I'm like, listen, with the foundation you get here, you're going to find all these different styles. Wherever you go in the country, the schools work a little different. It's not, you used to have, you work the old Memphis style or you work the Puerto Rican style. Now there's like 8 million of them because there's 8 million schools. But with these fundamentals, you could take that shit anywhere. And that's what he teaches them. That's what I tell them. I go, look, man, he's not lying. He's being straight up honest. This shit can get you anywhere. And he just, at no point is he's just such a good guy. Sometimes it's nauseating. It's like, bro, stop saying thank you. I'm not doing this for thank yous, bro. I'm doing this because you're my boy. And all the kids at the school know, I fucking hate wrestling. I don't even watch it. I like getting in the ring and beating the shit out of people, but, I don't even know that's out there.
No,
but he's just such a good dude.
Yeah. Dave starting that school was the best thing that could have happened down here. And because that old school mentality and just that thought process, the hard work, and just the Rusty, the Malenko, that thought process, it was so sorely needed. And having you over there, it's like, that everyone that comes out of that school, if they've got you and his stamp, like, there's a good chance that they're going to be on TV someday. And that's awesome. Like, to have that kind of, knowledge. Because, like...
Well, you got Jimmy Giannetti over there. And Jimmy, I knew Jimmy up in the Northeast. Jimmy knows his stuff. He's old school. Little, he runs that little softer style than I do, which I tell the kids, I'm like, look, you do what
everyone
what
runs a softer style than you do.
Yeah, unless you're like some crazy like pancreas Japan fucking nonsense. Yeah, everyone's softer than you, buddy.
All right, so he goes softer than Dave. How about that?
Oh, there we go. There we go.
All right, but and I tell the kids, I'm like, look, there's nothing wrong with that style.
Yeah.
I go, do what you can do well. Don't try to be me if you can't be me. Don't try to be Dave. Don't try to be you, but pick the style that it's you can do it well. Yeah. If you try to be somebody you can't, you're never going to be good at it. And so, Jimmy's there with his style. Dave's there with his style. Primetime comes in. Prime's there all the damn time. He's one of the biggest supporters of indie wrestling down here. He goes to everybody's stuff. But he goes in and he spills his knowledge. I got J.R. Ryder now, a good friend of mine. I met him up in the Northeast, and we just connected, and we've been hanging out since. He's started to show up now. He hasn't been in the ring in years, and he showed up. And the first day he was there, we're training, and we walk out. I go, bro, you had fun, man. And he wasn't taking bumps and working. He was just working with the kids. And he's like, yeah, I really enjoyed that. So he's been going back now. So they're getting it from all different angles, which is something that benefited me, because when I showed up at Rusty's, I had Norman Smiley there. I had Barry Houston there. I had, Soul Man was there. Rusty, obviously, a wealth of freaking knowledge. And it was so wide because Norman had his Japanese style that he did over there, and then he spent a ton of time in Mexico, so he kind of came up with this fusion style of Mexican and Japanese. Barry Houston was, for those times, kind of a high flyer, and then Rusty Solid. Soul Man was just pure classic, like, and I tell this story, and Soul heard me tell this story. I'd have to tell him, fucking hit me, dude, because I'm not selling your shit if I can't feel it. But it looked great. But the problem, if it was to, face on, and I could say, okay, yeah, he threw a punch, he barely touched me, but it looked good, I'll sell it. But he'd come up behind and do something, I go, I'm not selling that shit, because I don't know if you missed me.
Billy don't want those light handshakes.
Yeah, fuck, yeah, those light ass handshake. Yeah. I had to get used to that shit. I was like, what the fuck is this fruity shit going on here? But the word handshake, I was like, yeah, whatever.
Has that finally gone the way? Has that finally gone the way of the dodo? Is that finally out?
Is what now? I'm sorry.
Is that silly handshake finally out of the business? I mean, I haven't been to a show in years, so I don't know.
I haven't felt that handshake from anybody in a long. Like IPW, that shit didn't exist. You did that shit in IPW, you slapped the piss out of you.
Yeah, IPW wasn't a place for that kind of soft ass shit.
No. Yeah, we would beat you up, throw you out of the locker room, kind of like what when I beat up Hawk and Hassan, MVP, threw his shit out of the locker room. We wouldn't let him back in the locker room because of the way he behaved in the ring. That was IPW, man. You wouldn't even get back into the locker room. We'd toss your ass right out the front door and let the fans see it, and then you weren't coming back. So at FOW, there was a little bit. FWA, Cliff Anderson's. A couple guys here and there, but when I came in, I think it was that handshake was on its way out. So it kind of disappeared over the years.
I just remember like the first time I ever met Max, and I shook his hand. He did that like he would reach out with like his pinky and his ring finger to like shake your hand. You're like, what's happening? What's happening?
You talking about Max Cap?
Yeah.
You know what? That wasn't even because he was an old school worker. That was just because he was a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, he was not a well guy.
Yeah,
he was hoping you'd suck on
that
that
finger. Did you see the match I had against him?
Brother, I'll never forget.
I didn't see this. Tell me about this.
The only reason, the funny part is, it was Bruno Sassy, another guy that helped train me. We had a falling out because it turns out he was a douchebag, but, did a lot for me coming up and all that, and then went douchebag, like I say, the old school worker thing, and I'm not tolerant to that. I'll tell anybody to fuck off.
Yep.
And so it was me and Max, semi-main, and it was him and Hennig in the main, and everybody knew what I was going to do to Max. So Bruno comes, he's like, Billy, you can't kill him in the ring. And I'm like, why? He goes, because we'd have to take the ropes down to get him out.
Yeah, see, Max was what, like 600 pounds?
I'd have to take the ropes down to get him out.
650, yeah.
Yeah, you were the ring boy.
I was the ring boy at the time.
Well, yeah. So I'm like, all right, I promise you, he will leave under his own power. And I beat the shit out of him. But I kept punching him in the exact same spot in the head where I knew I wasn't going to knock him out, but I was going to swell up the brain. So match is over. He comes in the back. He sits on the training table, and he goes, I don't feel so. And it's 650 pounds of shit registered on the Richter scale. He hits the ground. Wow. And everybody stops and looks, and I'm standing right there, and I stepped over his body, and I look at Bruno, and I said, I just said I'd let him leave the ring under his own power.
Yeah.
And I grabbed my gear, and I fucking left.
Yeah, you kept your end of the bargain. See, Billy's a man of his word. Okay.
I'm a man of my word. That's it. So, like Janazo, it'll be a work. If you can see my face right now, it's wink, wink.
I can hear the air quotes you're doing. I can hear them.
Oh man, that's great. It's gonna be great. I don't know. Can we do like a pre or post thing, Ben?
Could do. I'll do all of it.
Yeah, we're gonna work on making this a thing, because I would love to not only be able to record and have all this for posterity, because for AJ for years to come, it might be the only thing he's capable of like reacting to, once his face goes numb. But
well, it'll be a reminder for him, because he's probably not going to remember much afterwards.
But I think we could do a real cool thing and try to give the school a good bump and get that stuff out there, because I love Dave. Dave's one of my the best guys I was ever in the ring with. We had some fun matches, and just being around him, he's a really good dude. Everything Billy said is absolutely 100% true, and just all around, like, he's always about helping everybody around him, and I would love to, if anything that we do could positively help him in the school, then that would be awesome.
That's perfect, man. Yeah, he is such a good freaking dude.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I know after this podcast, we'll definitely fill that party bus up that's coming from the New England area.
Because I've told Ben, and I think I said this on the podcast, like, my last match was him and Stevie down in Miami, and
Stevie who? Richard?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love Stevie too. But the entire day was filled because we were the only ones in the traditional locker rooms at the school that we were working out of. Everybody else was there at this makeshift locker room, and we didn't want to do that shit. So we're sitting there, it's just the three of us in this fucking giant ass locker room, and Dave is just ribbing Stevie all fucking day. And it just by the time the match is over, Stevie just just gets his things, he's ready to go, and it was really fun because all Dave was doing was just having fun. That's all Dave ever does, just have fun. Oh, yeah. And Stevie just, he made it. Stevie, so you'll find this funny. At some point, Stevie had mentioned that he was going to get married, or he had been married and something, and Dave goes, "Oh, you married your cats finally?" And it just, from there, oh, bro, it was phenomenal. So it's like such a good memory. Like, my last match was with these guys, both on TV, both fantastic dudes. We had a good match, but just watching them rib back and forth with each other the entire day was fucking awesome, man. And
that's one thing. Old school, you could not have a thin skin.
No,
it was brutal, and I was one of the ones that was freaking brutal.
Yeah,
but I would take it too,
But how do you navigate that at the school now? Is that easy to navigate? Are these kids that are coming up, are they better?
Again, Dave doesn't have a filter.
Yeah,
so he will F-bomb them. He cracks jokes. And there's no PC in the school.
That's really good.
We're not insensitive to people, but we just don't give a shit. It's funny. We're not, it's cool, good fun like it used to be, before you had to watch every freaking word that came out of your mouth.
Good.
But it's not brutal, but he cracks jokes. We crack jokes. And if you're thin-skinned, we tell them, look, if you're thin-skinned, you might want to go freaking train somewhere else.
Or not be in the business at all.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, from what I hear about the business these days, everybody's freaking thin-skinned little bitches. I've tried, I tell the kids at the school, I've tried to watch AEW, I think, twice when I was, I'm traveling for work, and I'll land in the hotel at, what is that, Wednesdays?
Yeah, it's on
Wednesdays, right? Yeah. So I'll land in the hotel, and I'll pop through, and the guy says, "Hey, all right, cool, yeah, let me give it a shot." And I call it like EDM music because it's just the same beat for every freaking match. and they're all like 109 pounds. And I tell them, I'm like, man, back when I was in the ring and I was, jacked up 215, I'd be a super heavyweight these days.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And and freaking, I'm hanging. Ryder's 6'3". Bruce, we were at a concert with Bruce a few weeks ago, and Ryder hadn't hung out with Bruce yet. And he sees Bruce, he's like, holy fuck, he's a monster. I go, oh, this guy would be Andre the Giant in the business right now.
Yeah.
Bruce would last about 15 minutes in the wrestling locker room.
I mean, even in the WWE, like it used to be, I think the cruiser, like Matt Hardy was a cruiserweight at like 240.
Yeah.
And now it's 205.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's huge.
They have a cruiserweight division again?
Yeah, but it's 205, which is like,
I wouldn't know Billy.
Well, that was always. I think the heaviest I ever heard cruiserweight was 225.
Maybe that was it. Maybe that was it.
225 was always the limit.
But it's like they dropped it a chunk, like almost 2 weight classes.
Because they're all walking around weighing they're all walking around weighing freaking buck nothing.
I was telling Ben and Blake and them yesterday. We were at Flashback Diner, the wife and I, for dinner, and they had SmackDown on the TV, and I haven't watched wrestling in fucking years. I think I've watched one AEW show, and I was like, all right, whatever. I know it's WrestleMania, so this is where we're supposed to get our quote unquote, best leading up to. And I'm like, this is like a bad like telethon. Like it's everybody. It's almost like the fucking WrestleMania sign is a UFO. And no one's seen one before. They can't stop pointing and staring at it. And all the promos are the same generic written garbage. And it's like, man, what fucking happened, man? It's unwatchable. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Well, that's what happened when they went scripted. It's kind of like when I was up at WCW and all these guys were coming out of the power plant. And they all wrestled exactly the same. And they kept putting all these idiots on TV. So you had the same match over and over and over again. And then the promo style, Dusty had left already, so they weren't learning promos from him. They were learning promos. I don't even know who was doing it. I'd pop in once in a blue moon when I was doing a shot for him, and whoever was teaching the promo style, they were all identical. It's like, all right, so if I watch one, I'm good. I've seen it all.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's,
it's all the same.
And
male or female doesn't even differentiate anymore. It's
back when, I was doing shots for the Fed, you had characters, very strong characters with The Rock and Triple H and all the guys that I was there with. And, they fucking could pick me out of a lineup, but I got to see and watch that growth because I was there for that shit.
Yeah.
And watch these guys, and they brought in the writers, but with the writers there, these guys had enough that they were like, no, yeah. And they worked with the writers on the ideas they wanted, but they made sure it was their character doing it. And they got the writers' ideas across. Nowadays, it seems like, everything I read and all that shit and the stuff that the kids tell me, it's, the writers pretty much give you a script and you sit in the back and you just practice your script.
It's all one voice.
Oh.
It's all one voice.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I don't watch anymore.
So, yeah, no shit, man. You're missing literally nothing.
I want to jump to another track here.
Okay.
Kind of randomly. I'm a bit of a porn connoisseur from back in the day. And
oh jeez, oh, you want to hang out with MILFs, don't you?
I just noticed that you're in all these. You're like in all these pictures with the great MILF Hunter, and I was like, of course Billy knows the MILF Hunter. Of course he does.
It's funny. It's J.R. Writers who I met Sean through MILF Hunter.
Yeah.
They've been friends longer than I've known MILF. Obviously, not as long as I've known Ryder, but they became friends. So then when Ryder moved down here, we all started hanging out together. So, yeah, Sean, I hang out with him all the time. He lives close to me. I'm East Hollywood on the Intercoastal, and Sean lives on a boat, probably a mile and a half from me tops. And so, yeah, we go out and we'll dabble in alcohol. And, yeah. And he was actually the concert I went up to in St. Pete that Bruce was there and Ryder. He was actually my writing partner. He rode up with me.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, Sean's a buddy, man. So yeah, we'll get him.
I was like,
he actually came to one of Dave's shows and you keep calling it the Hard Rock Casino. They do the Dania Highlight Casino.
Dania Highlight, okay.
Yeah, it's a really nice venue.
Yeah.
It's all Indians nice and slot machines to me. I can't tell the difference.
No. These are no Indians. Yeah. But it's a cool venue. I've gone to concerts there as well. But he came to one of Dave's matches with Ryder at the casino over there, And then, and then afterwards, obviously, we ended up out somewhere just,
Ben,
having 1-2 beers tops. We're not big drinkers.
Ben can't wait to fangirl.
I can control myself, but I was like scrolling through Facebook, and I'm like, oh, there's, it's the usual Tuesday night. Billy's out, having burgers and beers, and I'm like, and I immediately like I hit the brakes, and I'm like, I know that guy. Even with clothes on, I recognize that guy.
He's a funny motherfucker, dude. And he's lived quite the life.
I'd say so.
Back and forth.
I would imagine.
We joke back and forth. He was Canadian military, so I'm like, all right, cool. You had 1 rifle and 3 rounds of ammunition. Good for you. And then he'll rip on me for my service, and then we go in. And he just starts telling stories, and I have stories. We have fun. And Dave's hung out with him too, man. We all have a blast.
I listen, when you back in the day when that series was big and you would watch the things, the fun part about watching his videos wasn't like the porno aspect. It was seeing where on Fort Lauderdale Beach you recognized him picking these girls up. That was the fun part of the whole series. So I was like, when I saw him, you guys hanging out, I was like, oh, that's right. He must still live here. Cause that's like, that was the whole fun of honestly, that was the whole fun of watching those videos. It was like, I know, I've been there. I know where that is. So I swear to God.
Yeah, but you weren't doing that there.
No. But every now and then back in the 90s when this was going on, or the early 2000s, when you were down at the beach, every now and then you'd remind yourself to keep your eye open in case because you were just thinking, I'm going to catch them, like I'm going to catch them hanging out, filming a piece, trying to take someone back or whatever it was. I was always like in the back of subconscious on the lookout back in the day. Because I knew this was his hunting.
With old broken down ass milf.
Yeah. That's funny. So yeah,
he's a character though. But it's funny, man. The way you guys talk about me being out all the time eating and drinking, you think I'd look like Janazo.
Right, but that's why. No, that's me and Anthony have had this conversation many a time. I was like, how the fuck is Billy out 5 nights a week with the beers and the burgers and the whatever else? And he still looks like he did fucking 15 years ago.
Yeah, you're a vampire, by the way. You're a vampire, sir.
I look at a bagel. And I gain 10 pounds. It's like...
you know what? It's because I when I go out and I do that shit, but I wake up, I have a protein bar. Then I have a protein shake. Then I have maybe a protein cookie. And then I go out and I'm a fucking, drunk idiot. I have a good time. And it's not 5 days a week. It's been now there were maybe before COVID. Yeah, I was up to there were weeks that I was out like 7 fucking days.
He paces himself now, man.
But for the most part, it was 3, 4, maybe 5. Now I'm down to like 2 or 3. I'm getting up there in age.
Yeah.
It's still young enough to remind our boy AJ that you gotta think before you speak.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Do we have a date? Do we have the date officially yet?
I think
no, man. The only thing I have is that one text from him. What match? Question mark.
Well, I think this is unfortunately, even though it's Anthony's retirement match, it's probably going to end because we know Anthony's a bit of a lazy sack of shit. That it's probably going to be up to you to just find a date on the calendar and tell him this is when you got to show up, buddy.
Do you know what I'm waiting for? This is what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for when AJ hits up Billy. When all this nonsense ends and he actually talks to him about the match and he tries to convince him to do the pizza box spot.
Oh,
do what?
He likes to. One of the things he's basically because listen, he keeps saying he's I'm retired. Like you retired years ago, buddy. He stopped taking bumps years ago. Most of his matches have been comedy pieces with food and donuts
with food props.
Yeah, with food props and shit. Like he's a wooden bump wonder now.
I can't tell you how many times he's built a table out of pizza boxes and put someone through it. Probably 5 out of his last 30 matches.
Yeah, it's become a spot for him.
Yeah,
but so this is also why it was weird that he called you out because it's like you haven't athletically done anything in 5 or 6 years. Yeah, you may have been in a ring, but you weren't doing anything. You weren't working hard. You're gonna choose the guy who you got to work the hardest against to go in there with. Like you have to actually
I think
prepare.
all these facts.
I don't think he thought that through, man. I think he just went with
all these facts
nostalgia aspect of, I helped train him and I got him on the road.
I mean, let's be honest. Like even if you're taking this all nice and lighthearted, and at the end of the day you're like, well, if he shows up and he works with me, yeah, we'll have a good match and I won't beat him up too bad. Even if that's your best of, like, he's got to work really hard to get in that kind of shape because, buddy, he's not. And it's just like, I know you're going to go in there with, you go in there to give him a reminder, but, Billy's never out to hurt anybody unless he tells you he's going to. But it's like, if AJ goes in there and Billy's got the best of intentions, but then he just blows up in like a minute and a half, my God.
I know.
I feel so bad.
Well, one of the matches I did for Dave was against the other Slambino, Ciazzo. So,
wow.
And funny, Dave calls me that day. He's like, hey, man, the guy that Frankie was going to work, he can't make it. I go, all right. I go, but do not tell Frankie before he gets to the building because he won't come down. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. So I waited. Frankie walks in, and I tell him, I go, hey, man, he was working this guy, T. I go, T couldn't make it. He's like, oh. I go, that's the bad news. And he goes, so what's the good news? I go, no, there's worse news. And he goes, shit, I'm working you, aren't I? And I go, yes, sir.
Frankie would 100% not shown up.
Oh, no, he would have, my car broke down, can't make it. But, so this is what Frankie says to me. He goes, hey, you know what? I was figuring I'd go out, because I love Frankie. I've been on the road with Frankie. I love Frankie. But I sit there and I'm thinking it's going to be, a little simple, old school kind of shit, whatever. I'll lay my stuff in, but that's just normal. He sits there and goes, well, why don't we do this? I'll punch you in the face and you sell it, but don't sell it. Then I'll give you a rip shot. Sell it, but don't sell it. Then I'll kick you. Don't sell it and you start, laying into me. And I go, really? That's the match you want to have with me? And he's like, yeah, it'll be good. I said, okay. So he does it. I kick him the one time. He just crumbles. I throw a knee. And next thing I know, I have him in the corner and he's like, I can't breathe. I'm like, what? So I punch him in the face and I toss him out of the ring and I look at Randy Yellow, the ref. I go, what the fuck you just say to me? He's like, he says you can't breathe. So I look at him, he's outside trying to catch his breath. I go, get the fuck back in the ring. So he comes in, we run a little spot. I even called something where I was going to let him backdrop me over the top rope to the floor. Dude, he gets in the ring, he's like, I can't breathe. I snap him, I kick him in the back of his head. I hook him and I go, what the fuck did you just say? I can't breathe. I pick him up, I dump him again. And I'm looking at Randy like, is this guy serious? So Frankie gives Randy the Iggy and tells me to come over towards the rope. So I walk over, he pulls me out, posts me, pounds me a little bit. He shoots me into the ring and he says, take it home. I'm like, what? We're like not even 2 minutes into the match. So he comes in, goes to throw a punch. I just hook him on bar his ass. And I'm like, I guess this is the finish. And he just taps like a motherfucker. And it was like 2.5 minutes. And we get in the back and he's like, no, you knocked me out. The fuck I did. He's like, no, you knocked me out. So Nimi had ridden with him. So Nimi told me because he knew I didn't knock his ass out. He just got blown the fuck up. I don't know if it was nerves or he honestly had worked in Georgia the night before.
Yeah.
And got no sleep and drove straight through. I think it was fatigue. And the fact is, maybe once I laid in that first fucking shot, he went, oh shit, I called this. This sucks. And he got into a fucking breathing.
And he was prepared. He was prepared for an easy student kind of match. And he was just thinking it was going to be an easy payday.
I can picture Janazo freaking just, getting blown up going through the ropes.
God damn, man. He'd better be shooting steroids in his eyeballs.
I mean, he was he before we started his weight loss competition, he started, quote, working out again. I don't know what that entails, but he was saying he was getting winded going up the stairs to go to bed. So.
That's not a good sign. That's not a good thing to say out loud, and that's not a good thing for Billy to hear right now.
Yeah, well, you know what? He's not working me tomorrow, so I'm going to get with Dave. I'll be at the school probably this week, and I'll be like, hey, what are your dates June and July? Because I'm going to narrow it down. It's June or July for this kid.
Yeah.
You're coming to one of them.
Yeah.
It's not optional. I got to send people to your house to pick you up.
No,
I'll do it.
We'll do all the groundwork, promoting, and everything here, and he just has to show up in whatever shape he feels like he has to be in.
I think AJ's secret weapon's going to be a ground up packy chip that he hits you like Mr. Fuji.
So, the chip. Yeah. Now I've heard you guys tell this story, and there's no fucking question. I went to the bathroom and I washed my hands, and I thought it was safe, and I touched my eye. It burned my eye more than it did my mouth.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember I was drinking, I think it was vodka there because you guys didn't have beer or whatever. And somebody told a joke. Yeah, I was choking like a motherfucker. And I farted twice. You guys only heard one. I farted twice. Because I'm sitting there laughing. We're trying to laugh, but I can't breathe. So the pressure built up and went up the other side. Yeah, and I was laughing about it too. But the part you haven't told, and you guys continue to tell this story, is where I'm standing next to you, Ben, with my fucking eye beat red, going, yeah, this shit's burning my eye, while the vandals are fucking up-chucking in the sink, and you and I are just sitting there.
Yeah. Yeah, they couldn't. They definitely couldn't handle it. No. The story is, it's not that you couldn't handle the heat. It was that we got you choking where you couldn't catch your breath, and the story is the night we almost killed Billy Fives. Yeah. It's just become that tale. But it wasn't that you couldn't handle the heat. You and I were sitting there. No ifs, ands, or buts, man. I was choking, laughing I was laughing on the inside. Couldn't get the laugh out because I'm fucking choking. And it's kind of like, well, Ben wouldn't know, but Marco, when you're training legs at the gym and you do that little squat and all of a sudden you're like, the pressure builds and there it goes.
So funny story. When I was training with Snake Master and Sullivan, when Sullivan was down here, Sullivan's daughter had come over. I guess they were doing something. He was doing something, some paperwork or something like that. And we were doing squats. Same shit happened to me at 350 or something. It's like, oh shit, it happened right in front of her, man. And it was just like, oh, and I had only met Kevin a week or two prior. I felt so embarrassed.
Yeah, if it just been Kevin, you would have laughed about it, but with his daughter there, you're like, oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah. I was just like, God, of course, right? Man.
Yeah, that was it. That pressure built, bro. It had to go somewhere.
Yeah, so I totally understand.
That night was fun, man. We had a good time that night.
Oh, and it's funny, I really regret not being able to be a part. I forgot what was going on where I couldn't go out with you guys. Something was happening probably with the missus.
Your wife wouldn't sign the permission slip.
Right. It was something like that. But also at the same time, I'm glad I didn't go because that packy chip probably would have killed me with my Crohn's.
Yeah,
that would have been a bad worst case scenario.
There were two extras. There were people there that were like, "Yeah, we're not doing it. We didn't pressure anybody to do it. If you're in, you're in."
Billy. With you, AJ,
you made and Ben,
and Ben all in the same room. Yeah, we all knew I would have made the same horrible decision you all made. Let's just be honest here, okay?
He couldn't have stood there and watched us all do it.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. I would have taken the chance. I would have rolled those dice, and those dice would have come up snake eyes on me.
And as much as I didn't push the other people to do it, I didn't know them, so I probably would have dish ragged you.
Of course you would have. You're acting like you would have accepted my decision.
Well, no, Bill.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I would have buried you.
The way that night was going, there were a lot of chops exchange. It would have probably been it would have been like Dealmaker Billy going, well, you don't have to do the package chip, but you got to take 5 chops.
Yeah.
And then it's this real come to Jesus moment on which side of the.
And then I'm going to eat the chips, and as I'm eating the chips, he's going to chop me anyway. Right. So.
Well, it's kind of like the choice I gave Janazo at one point when I was turning on him. It was like, all right, you want the kick or the chair? And I was blown away. They picked the chair. And there it goes. So I broke that shit over their fucking head.
Well, the way he tells it, he's like, well, I knew what the kick felt like.
I swing a fucking chair, man. Just put your forehead out there. It's going to land flat, but I swing that shit. Kind of like my kicks. I lay everything in. I hit that motherfucker.
The funniest
that chair
part
bent, and Eric turned around and looked at it, and I went, you don't even get a choice. And I fucking just dropped Eric, too.
Yeah, see, it's funny when AJ told it, he said Eric got hit in the head. He goes, why did you after you saw me take the chair shot, why did you take the chair shot? I like that you didn't give him a choice.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was, the chair was already in my hand, and it was ready for the next swing, so fuck it, I'm going for it.
And see, real early on in this, I was like, well, let's make this interesting. I was like, I could do we'll do a special guest ref or something like that, but then I realized, I was like, if I chose to do that, and I'm in the ring, and AJ fucks up and pisses off Billy, I'm in the ring. No, that's a bad idea in all cases. Because I'm not doing anything to get in shape or prepare for, taking bumps or nothing like that. I'm like, you know what? some up and coming kid who wants a life lesson. What happens when things go awry in a wrestling ring? Let him have that experience.
Oh, no, Dave has a kid that's training that, before he does his first match, he's been reffing. He's doing a great job.
That's awesome.
I'm going to let him ref that match.
Oh, awesome, man. Awesome.
Marco, you don't want to be, I don't think you want to be in a ring where actual wrestling is going on just in case you also become fucking retarded and decide you want to have another match.
I got a baby on the way. There's that retardation's got to wait a few years if it happens at all. All right.
No, you could learn to walk at the same time the kid does.
It's fair. That's a fair statement, because we'll both be trying the same, just as hard. No, it's a.
That's it. You guys could crawl together, walk together. It'd be great.
Yeah. No, it's the amount of work it would take to even feel like I would want to do it.
You'll both be working. You'll both be working up to Solid Foods together too.
Hold on. Hey, actually, you're gonna get Madison on the podcast.
Uh-oh.
Hey, you're on a podcast with Ben Temples and Dirt Bike Kid Marco. Yeah. What's up?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
There you go. You got 2 5s on the podcast.
2 5s. Well,
there you go. You got so a 10, right? Who's waiting to crack that joke?
What was that joke? There was a fives joke, and I forgot what it was.
What did you?
Boy!
You guys had the packaging there?
No. There was. I forget it now. It'll come to me after when we're no longer recording because
of course.
But 2 5s is definitely more than 10 when it comes to these 5s.
Yeah, ask the boys. My daughters are meaner than I am.
They are. I remember a specific instance where was it? It was. I know it was at the old. Where was it? Geronimo's. We all had gone after a show at Geronimo's, and your oldest put someone in their place.
Kayla.
Yeah. And that was
was
entertaining to watch because it's your daughters are like they're unassuming, like you wouldn't expect it, but the second you realize they're Billy Five's daughters, there's no doubt.
Right.
There's no doubt where this genetic tree goes. Yeah. If in fact, you're right. In some ways, they are more vicious than you, because your personality and the way that your directness. And their voices, it definitely comes out with a little bit more sandpaper.
A little more sandpaper.
Yeah, you're like, that was rough. Oh shit. But no, it's great. It's great because what?
He was sitting in. There was a show. I forget where it was. I'm working. I guess he worked or whatever it was. He was sitting next to Kayla, my oldest, watching the show, and she's doing commentary, but she's doing brutal commentary. Kayla picks it apart. That kid was around the ring. My first match was 2 weeks before she was born. So she grew up around the ring. She was at Russie. She was at every show. When I was traveling all over the freaking place, I would make sure I did at least one shot a month in state. I didn't make any money here, so I wouldn't really take all the bookings.
Yeah.
But I would do one so that her and I could take a road trip and go together. And so she came up around it, man. I mean, she came up around the hearts. She was hanging with Santee, and she's hanging with Navy SEAL and Mike Sullivan and Scooby Andrews. And she's down here, and she's hanging with she grew up with the freaking Vandals. Those were her uncles. They love her. Joey Machete and Hoss were at, what was it, her 4th or 3rd birthday. They're all there. And so she grew up with these guys. And Janazo was sitting there saying, after the show, he's like, bro, your daughter is brutal. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they sat there, and she's just commentary, but it's kind of like the, what was that old show with the robots that would talk over a movie?
Like Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah, and she's just sitting there just dish ragging in, but she's critiquing the shit out of their work because she knows work. Like when I owned the gym, she used to go around at 6, 7 years old and tell people how their form was wrong and working out. She was just smart to everything I did at the gym, smart to everything that was in the ring. And Janazo came and told me that story. We're like, holy shit, she is brutal. And I was like, that's my girl.
I'll tell you what he was most worried about. Whatever she thought of his match.
I guarantee She didn't even ask her.
Yeah, because he's probably sitting there like watching a match, like, well, this match was better than mine. If she's saying this about them, my God, what did she say about me?
Oh yeah, he probably asked me before he asked her.
It's like, well, at least she likes me as a person.
Oh, yeah, she loves those guys. It's funny. She FaceTimed me yesterday, and I gave her the Iggy on everything that's been going on. I go, so look, if you see something on Facebook, feel free to jump in and just, dish rag freaking Anthony. And she's like, oh, yeah, okay, no problem.
Now
she doesn't get to pay much mind to social media. She's in med school, so she's busy as shit.
Yeah.
But she's like, oh, yeah, I'll look for it. Okay, there you go.
This is going to be a whole Fives affair.
Oh, my God.
I may have the girl that run in on it.
Oh my goodness! We know AJ's kids aren't running in and helping him do anything.
Well, his kids are coming and hand me the chair.
Oh man! When AJ listens to this,
I'm so excited. That's all I'm thinking about now.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I almost wish
Well,
that.
at least he hears me laughing. I'll be laughing in the match too.
Of course you will. I can't wait to record this. Like it's gonna be great.
I saw Bobby bought a plane ticket too, in case he doesn't.
Bobby's gonna be here too.
No.
Yeah.
Well, no,
He got me
actually,
an open-ended ticket.
he bought Billy a ticket to go to kick his ass if he doesn't show up. To fly to Atlanta to kick his ass.
Of course he did. This is awesome.
So Billy, if this falls apart and you end up going to Atlanta, just let me know what day so I can be up there too.
Yeah.
No, we'll make sure we record the theatrical work that'll take place.
It's gonna be like an episode of Cops. Just running in the bushes. AJ's like, what?
He'll be hiding
back at Rusty's school when I used to have to go search in the whole house and dig J-Dog out of a closet somewhere that he was hiding because he didn't want to work.
Oh, I love those stories.
I picture Anthony hiding under an upside down kiddie pool.
like that turtle.
Yeah. That bastard.
I don't know if he'd fit, but I'd like to see.
Listen, he'll get as flat as he can when Billy's on his tail.
Listen, I hope that this becomes like he listens to this and he's like, I'm gonna prove them all wrong. Like good, please. Like there's not enough time between now and June and July for you to get in good enough shape to do this, buddy.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I heard the podcast. He's got an exercise bike coming. He'll be just fine.
He's got the Peloton.
The off-brand Peloton.
We can't even afford the real
bullshit,
Peloton.
Yeah, Peloton. That dude's got a weeder.
He can afford it. He's too cheap.
Aww.
He wouldn't buy a real Peloton. And if he did, he wouldn't subscribe to whatever the service is.
Yeah.
You can't.
I'm surprised he didn't just buy one of those little mounts and he's on his kid's bike just pedaling.
I don't think his kids pedal anywhere either. I think
those bicycles been growing spider webs.
Those kids make him drive them everywhere.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well, shit.
I made my kids work growing up.
Yeah. Well, and now you have one that's almost a doctor.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, and Madison is starting her junior year of college, man. Those little shits that were running around the Davy Rodeo Arena and all those buildings, where you were at, Marco, those little shits are 24 and 20.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. That's got to be like
you're going to be there soon, my friend.
Yeah. I can't. August 13th. I don't think it's going to be August 13th. I was going to think it's going to be before that. I doubt my wife's going to make the due date, but I'm really looking forward to it, man. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. So this is great because
the sex.
Yeah, it's a little girl.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, no, I'm super stoked, man.
All you big tough guys cursed with daughters.
Yeah, we got.
Brother, you know what?
We got to pay for all our
daddy's
mistakes.
Girls, man.
Yeah. Oh, they're gonna
they're
be
daddy's girls. You can't beat that shit.
No.
Scoot Andrews same way. 2 girls, but they're daddy's girls. You end up having a boy. They end up being mama's boys. Like screw that. I got my daddy's girls.
I'm waiting to
Damn
see.
right.
I'm waiting to see after this one. After this one is out in the world, and we're raising her. If my wife is going to go for a second, she was all about having 3 kids, but I think this pregnancy might shut a door on some of those ideas.
Yeah, it depends on if the kid comes out and they're nothing but rainbows and butterflies. You're like, oh hell yeah, we'll do it again. If the kid comes out and they're a holy terror. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah, and see, I know having a little girl. I'm like, I'm paying for all my shit. This is karma.
Yeah,
but it's good. Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. I can't look more forward to it because it's just like, Otherwise, I was just doing the same shit I've been doing, and I'm really happy. So, and
congrats, man! Truthfully, it saved me. I was just a fucking decadent dick. You guys, the stories you tell about me now are like the rated G version of what I used to be.
Oh, I have
was nothing but ultra violent, and I mean, I traveled the world beating the shit out of people. I was, doing the contract work overseas. You couldn't put me in a dangerous spot that I wasn't like, fuck yeah, I'm in, let's do it. And then, all of a sudden the wife is like, yeah, I'm pregnant. I go, oh shit, all right. And it was Norman Smiley's brother, Sean. He's been my best friend since we were 12. And he was the one that pulled me aside. He's like, bro, you can't keep doing the shit you're doing. You're going to be a father. And I was like, yeah, okay, talking sense to me. That's bullshit. But yeah.
How dare you be logical?
I know, you bastard. You just ruined everything with this common sense, be the good guy. You got a kid coming shit. It was the greatest fucking thing that ever happened.
And the best part is I did this so late in life that by the time that they're 10 or 11 and they discovered that daddy used to, wear spandex in a wrestling ring, when they're like, oh, we want to see that again. I'm like, there's plenty of tapes because I'll be fucking near 50. And I'm like, if I'm hesitant to even think about the idea of starting a journey to get a match or two behind my belt, like now, by 48, there's no way. and obviously, I say that now.
There's exaggerated rumors of me retiring like 100 times. I've actually said the words twice. And the first time was because Kayla got tired of me traveling the world.
Yeah.
And wanted me to stop. And I'm like, I'm not going to just do Florida Indies. I'd rather just shoot myself.
So that's a fair thought.
Yeah. And then Madison, after 2 years, I hadn't stepped foot in a ring. I hadn't gone to a show. 2 years later, Madison was like, I never really got to saw it. I was kind of young. And I said, fuck. So then they called me and I did a couple shots. But, it's working Bruce. So, go beat the shit out of each other, have a good time. And then, all of a sudden, it became a shot here, a shot here. And then Bobby got me. That motherfucker tricked me because he was bringing back FOW or something. I don't remember if it was him first or Frank first. Just come in. I'll put the title on you. And I go, I don't want your title. I'm not going to stick around. Like, no, to be short. Both of them did the same stupid shit to me. They put the title on me, and then I couldn't get it off me. And I'm like, no, I'm done. Somebody else is getting this fucking title.
This sounds like
with
something.
Johnny.
Yeah, that's the famous Johnny Vandal match. I love Johnny's perspective from that match, and I love your perspective of that match. But it's the same perspective, where you made him work. You made him work real hard.
Yeah. He said, what did he tell me? He goes, bro, I almost tapped out 30 seconds into the match.
Yeah.
Because I hooked something. And I told him, I'm like, because he'd gone to Japan at that point, and you're Mr. fucking Badass, man. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So we get in, we start grappling, and next thing you know, he's hooked, and I'm cranking it, but I'm not putting him to sleep. And at the point where I felt him, all of a sudden he's going limp, and he's not even fighting me. Oh fuck, I let it go. And he was like, yeah, I almost tapped out 30 seconds in. I was like, okay, all right, no worries.
It's funny too because you told me that, and then later on, before one of our matches, I was like, hey Johnny. Billy told me this thing. He's like, yeah. I almost passed out. I was like, oh damn, okay. Now he's got like his own like gym or something in like the fucking Puerto Rico. Like he's doing real well.
Costa
now.
Rica, I think.
Oh, Costa Rica. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I see his videos on what's the one I just joined? Instagram.
He's in phenomenal fucking shape. That guy. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. Yeah, but he changed when he came back from Japan. He was definitely way more committed and determined. It shows.
I mean, he came in. He was I think he was like 16 when he started.
Bro, I look at some of those old flyers.
I
look at some of those old flyers, and he legitimately looks like he's 14, 15 on the fucking flyer. I'm like, there's a child. Like no one back then was like, why is there a child on the fucking wrestling flyer?
His mom signed the waivers.
Eric started bringing him. I think he was 16.
Yeah.
He might have been 15. I'm not even sure.
He was fucking young.
And, yeah, and he would take a fucking beating, and then, Anthony would even be like, yeah, he's not writing down all this, because they all rode together from Boca. And they weren't even friends. They kind of, I think they'd known each other, but they weren't friends. And Johnny was like, hey, I'll give you money to drive me down to the school. He wanted to train. And so Anthony was like, well, yeah, he's not coming back. And the fucking kid would be like, hey, what time are you picking me up for practice? And he was like, all right, cool. And he did. He took some beatings, man. Especially you get in there with, Dave Johnson and Casey and them. And I had to give freaking, Anthony and them the 80 on that shit because they'd get in there and get their ass beat. And I was like, guys, why are you letting them beat your ass? Turn around and receive them and they'll stop beating your ass. That's how I did it. I got in the ring with Dave, and Dave Johnson used to throw the back kick. And I throw back kicks, but I throw my shit across the top of your shoulders. He used to hit you in the spine. And he did that one time at Rusty's, and I spun around, and I don't know if I single-legged him or double-legged him, and I took him down and popped him. And I was like, you ever kick me like that again, I'll kill you. And Rusty loved it. Rusty was popping. Yeah, teach him a fucking lesson. But then I told the Vandals, they're not going to be able to shoot like me, but I'm like, just fucking receive them back, man. That's what they're waiting for. And that was the old school mentality. I'm going to stiff you. If you stiff me back, I'm going to lighten up. If you bitch up, I'm going to keep beating your ass.
AJ tells that, and he's like, yeah, I just wish Billy had told me, 4 months earlier to stand up for myself.
No, the problem was by the time they came around, I was traveling a lot, so I wasn't at the school all the time.
Yeah. So
I'd pop in here and there.
I remember my fair amount of shares of fucking Dave and Hack beatings and Casey beatings and all that shit when Bobby opened up the FOW school the first few months. Fun times.
Oh, the one he had Larry Lane teaching at, so nobody was going to learn to wrestle?
No, that was before the Larry Lane. That was the old Rocky Johnson before he moved over to the SmackDown Academy, but the old building in Davie. So he had another school. That was the school. That was the building where Joe made Max cry in the parking lot and beat the shit or punched him once. But
I've heard the story.
Yeah,
I never got there.
Yeah. We were all in the ring and he showed up and Max got out of his car. They had like an altercation. Oh, they got in each other's face. He fucking popped him once in the head, and then Max went in his car and cried for like fucking 3 hours. and we were all just like, I had just started, like, I just dipped my toe in the business. That ring was the first time, was Mike Blake's ring, and we had just set it up for like the first or second time. Like the school it wasn't really a school, it was an empty warehouse with a ring in it at that point. And it was just crazy because you saw, Max was 650 fucking pounds. Like, he was a big boy. And Joe just walked right up to him, at the time, Market Crasher, and punched him once in the face. It was over his girlfriend, something Max said. And Max just started crying. And then went in his truck and cried for like 3 fucking hours while we sat there and trained. And it was weird.
Max, he was a good dude, but he was 50 cents short of $1, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a serious shortage. Usually you're like,
definitely wasn't all there.
Usually you're a nickel short.
Asked him about all his tattoos, and every one of them was a random chick that said hello.
Yeah.
If some girl said hello, he was in love.
Yeah.
That was it. He was in every tattoo was some other girl that wanted nothing to do with him, but he swore they had a relationship.
Because she's still local. It's like because we always want to tell stories on this podcast, and all the wrestling stuff is so crazy you don't almost believe it. And I always kind of want to tell the silhouette thing, but I don't. Because it's just there's certain stuff that that happened around those times where it's like, well, this is a really good story, but it's like, I don't want no person to get dragged into this because they don't probably want to fucking talk about this shit anymore. And that's the unfortunate side of some of the boys' stories is, man, they can't leave that fucking locker room.
Oh, there's a whole lot of stories I will not tell.
Did Bruce ever tell you the story about how he started drinking again from the Ronin show? When he broke his sobriety?
How he started drinking again after I turned him into an alcoholic?
So he had quit.
He was like a good 4 or 6 months sober.
This was 2016, right?
Yeah, it was like
15,
post
16,
that altercation with the cops.
Yeah.
That he had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He cleaned up and he was real sober. I think we had seen him before at a show and he was real sober. But they booked him. They booked him and a bunch of other people at this Ronin show. And it was like 2015, and he shows up and the whole show goes through. It was him and was it Tarver?
I don't remember who he was with, but he was He was working against
Barrington and Joey Saint. And the match is over. They come in the locker room, and Bruce comes in. He looks around. He sees a bottle of Jack Daniels. He goes, "Whose fucking bottle is this?" And I forgot whose bottle it was, but they're like, "Oh, it's mine, man." But Bruce, go ahead. Bruce turns over to Barrington. He goes, "I've been sober for 6 fucking months, and because of you, I'm a fucking drunk again." And like chugs the whole fucking thing. He's like, "You are the shits," and just fucking, oh my god.
He did. He ran him down.
Oh, dude, he ran him down because there's few people that could run a human being down like Bruce can in the locker room if you've had a bad match with him.
Yeah.
Oh my! I saw him do that. I forgot who the fuck was it. It was at a fucking bar show in fucking Tampa, and the whole locker room cleared to one side, and Bruce. It's Aaron Epic, and he just rails him for about 15 fucking minutes, and then he gets his shit and he leaves, and we're all just like, God damn.
Did it have something to do with a belt? And he's like,
no, because they were supposed to work because Epic was the champion. They were trying to bring a bunch of people in to build up the belt. So they brought in Bruce. Epic blows up like 2 minutes in, and Bruce takes it over. Epic was supposed to go over, and Bruce just takes it over, takes the belt, comes to the locker room and goes, "Don't you don't you ever do that shit again." Blah 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 blah. He's like, "I'm gonna be back next month. I want to give this. I don't want this fucking belt. You had better be in shape. Billy. And it was like and when he came back, fucking Epic spent the last like 4 or 5 weeks like just on nothing but cardio, and they had a good match afterwards. But like, I wonder if you can even do that shit nowadays with people. Because I don't know. I've been in a locker room in fucking years, man. And what you see now, and we've talked about a little bit here, is you have to be careful how you navigate this shit now.
Oh, they'll call the police on you.
Yeah.
That's why everything I do is a work.
Bro, we have to find a way to merchandise that, like get a Billy, it's a work shirt.
there you go.
Because I want to wear that night. Hey, AJ, look, it's work.
There you go.
Oh shit!
All right, boys, you're reaching my bar time.
No, man, no, go hit up them drinks, Billy, man. Thank you for your time, brother. This was awesome.
Yeah, this is fun.
I had fun, man. I appreciate it.
We'll definitely do this again as we're working our way towards Armageddon here.
There you go. Hey, just everybody that listens, just torture Janazo.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not going to be hard because we're going to be pushing this narrative the entire rest of the way. Hey, we're only pushing the narrative that he built. That's it. That's all we're doing.
This is all.
Yeah.
This was all his doing. So.
All right, Billy. You have yourself a good day, man.
He dug this 6-foot hole. Later, boys.
Take it easy.
Later, Billy. Thanks. Let's see if he hangs up or not. There we go.
That was awesome.
Yeah. No, Billy's great. I think we should wrap this up, but before we do, we got to do your.
Oh, it is.
Let's look at who remembered the segment this time.
Yeah, you remembered it.
I was trying to segue into it with Billy, but then Billy took it home.
Yeah, it's
which is fine.
So we're at 21 weeks, everybody. We were just beginning over the halfway mark. The baby is now as big as the rose from Beauty and the Beast,
including the stem.
I guess,
or just the flower part.
My baby is now as big as a large banana.
Banana, but not shaped like a banana.
No. Hopefully not. And my baby is as big as a Kool-Aid burst from the 90s.
Oh, I see the picture of that.
And
it's
Kool-Aid
like
with the tops,
the little plastic
tops that look like the alien ships from Galactica or whatever. Galaga. What's the fucking arcade game?
Galaga.
Yeah. The tops, when you twisted the tops off, they look like the little ships.
As obscure as these items are to the size of a baby is how fucking you just described that fucking top to this like a plastic bottle. Maybe twice as obscure. So, yeah, all right. That was fun. Yeah, this match with Anthony's going to be quite a fucking quote. What do we say? It's a work.
It's a work.
It's a work.
Oh, it's a work, all right. That's great. That's great. And here's what gets me. And I know AJ's gonna listen to this. AJ, man, why didn't you reach out to Billy before all this nonsense? What are you doing?
And why haven't you still reached
Yeah,
out?
how is your only line of communication with Billy that one really weak sauce line? You know,
match? Question mark?
Maybe? Huh? Like we can really make this a fun time. I'd rather not spend an hour of my camera's footage us podcasting outside of your hospital room.
Dude, how great of a series of TikToks would it be the ambulance ride over while they're trying to revive his body?
I mean, we're going to monetize your pain.
Oh,
so
fuck yeah.
You should make this as painless as you can at this point, because Billy seems like he's still like just kind of waiting to hear. Like,
I'm gonna turn the shot of the tooth flying out of your mouth into an animated GIF that I then sell as an NFT.
Pretty much most of that match will be chopped up and sold as NFTs.
Yeah,
because your fans are gonna buy the moment he finally taps.
Oh my God. He's not only tapping on the match, but his career and possibly his life.
like make this easier on you, man. Reach out to Billy, because he seems like at this point, like if you reached out to him and tried to talk to him, like it's still going to be a fairly physical affair, but you'll have way more input.
Right. We'll still be yelling. It's supposed to be an exhibition.
I'm bringing my towel to throw in, by the way.
But you might not end the way Apollo Creed did.
Can we be his cornermen? Or are we too close to the action if we're cornermen?
I
like dress up as like cornermen with his name on the back, and I can bring the bucket.
I feel like if I'm on quote the wrong side of the barricade.
No, Billy's cornerman.
Oh
yeah.
I still feel like I could get accidentally kicked.
Fair enough.
I feel like I could still catch an accidental foot to the head.
We'll be fall like, sorry, Tipples. Line of fire, you know.
It's a work, brother.
It's a work. All right, man. Well, this was great. I love this.
So everyone, if you're interested in subscribing to our podcast or
liking and sharing,
going to our social medias, it's all in the descriptions. Go to our website, buy a T-shirt, or
buy two,
or buy none, and we can go fuck ourselves. Either way, it won't stop us from
fucking ourselves.
Well, yeah, but also in podcasting, at least until the death of Anthony. I might have to start lining up replacements for the Furlough Files. All right.
Well, there's another Vandal out there. We'll get Ricky in.
Oh, Jesus. I don't think that guy gets string 3 sentences again. I think that chair shot stuck with him.
Well, maybe we'll have to move the next to Ken, and we'll just get Nick on the podcast every week.
That kid's too lazy. As lazy as AJ is, that kid's the worst. It'll be the Furlough Files with Ben and Nick the Dick. All right.
All right, man. All right, everybody. Okay, bye.